My father's worked his whole life to provide for his family, and he didn't go to college straight after secondary. He was shipped off to work in London. Show day. I'm usually here like an hour or two before the actual call is. This one has been long. This show, I mean, the whole process has been hard. Finally related to the character, which is great, but yeah, the journey in general for this one was more difficult than, say, like any project I've done over the last 2-3 years. He was a difficult character to connect to, and when you're an actor and you know you're cast in a role that the director thinks that you're right for, you want to agree with them, go with their instinct and try and see their perspective on why they chose that character for you. And this Leonardo guy, constantly for the last number of months, I've been told, you know, he's a broken man, he's torn, you need to vindicate him. And all I could see was a man willing to leave a wife who did love him for just a woman who threw him away. And as I developed and, you know, worked on the characterization, only over the last week or two did I finally realize that it's not that he has left one wife for his duty in society, because if we look now, like in 2018, how many people get together, have children and separate and still live full, prosperous lives? I came of it from that perspective that Leonardo and the bride are not these two people destroying everyone's lives, but if you were to look at Lorca's characters, is that they are modern people. You know, they're not confined to society, that if you're married, you're stuck with that person whether you like them or not. They're willing to say, hey, I don't like my circumstance, let's change it. And it just so happened that he was in a marriage he didn't like, and the bride was fulfilling the duty of the daughter, the only child of her father, who needs to marry a rich husband to expand their land and their wealth. You know, and if you were to look back in the early 1900s, that was the main point. Women were married off. Men got to choose, but if you were from two different social classes, you didn't work. But now, in today, in modern society, we see that class doesn't matter. And that's where I finally found like a place to relate to this guy. My father's worked his whole life to provide for his family, and he didn't go to college straight after secondary. He was shipped off to work in London. And this is how I've related the characters. Leonardo, which I represent, which I actually characterize a lot after my dad, because underlining, you know, son and dad issues, all that, and I was taking like all the anger from my father and pointed it into Leonardo, you know, just like the constant rows that sons and dads would have. But now I'm looking at it from the perspective of exact same, I'm still relating Leonardo to my dad, and I'm using character traits and developing this new modern man Leonardo, not this asshole that I used to play him as. Because like in my life, my dad worked his whole life. I mean, when he was 18, literally finished secondary school, he was shipped off to go work like in London somewhere. He wasn't even given the opportunity to have an education after that. But now he's coming back and he's saying, do you know what? No, I always wanted to do X, Y, and Z, so I'm going to go back to college and figure that out. And that's where I found the relationship between modernism and the realism. And I think that's really cool. Yeah, I wish I figured that out like 2 months ago. This would have been so much easier. I think more people are here, so I'm gonna go downstairs.
Well, I started out down a dirty road, and the world got still. But I guess I'll know get there. I'm learning to fly around the clouds.
Prepped out and decked out.
Go back to the mountain. The snow bleeds on the mountain in the pain of the dawn. Hello. Oh my god! Sorry. Hi, baby.